102. We are joining you today on a beautiful sunny Wednesday in Scotland. Ethan back from Boston after his adventures out there. And we're here to briefly talk about the Morocco game because it's been talked to death by this point, but we're obviously here as well to preview the Brazil game. Ethan, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm just really excited. Back in the feel of Scotland again, obviously coming back home and out of the wild atmosphere of being at the tournament. But now the excitement and the buzz is upon us again. We're probably 12 hours now from when the national anthems will be being played as we record this. A little bit of a late recording by our standards, but we thought it was important to get on here and obviously speak about which could be hopefully a historic match for Scotland and not the last one of this tournament. We've got the 3 points at the minute with the goal difference is looking good to take us through to the next round as a best third place team, but can we go one better and get a result against Brazil, whether that be a draw to really confidently assure our place in the last 32 or even a win and to move into second, where I believe we would face Japan or the Netherlands, whoever wins that group. At the moment, it looks like we'll be taking a trip to the Azteca to play Mexico, which would be an excellent occasion. But the other possible scenario sees us return to Boston to play Germany. So two excellent possible
Do
fixtures.
you see who we if we play Germany, and if we somehow beat them, who will potentially be getting in the next round?
Yeah, I think it might be Thomas Tuchel's England, if I'm not.
I saw a thing that said that had it down as if we beat Germany, the other game was Sweden versus France
Oh no.
as it stands.
Oh no. And that's the other third place slot that we could go into actually. The one that Sweden I think are taking up the minute playing the winners of that group, which will be France or Norway. Norway look to be taking the sort of driving seat into that head to head game, the last game in that group, but they conceded a late goal against Senegal that made that France take the advantage in and only need a draw now in the last game to top that group. But it's going to be difficult whoever Scotland play. But I think Scotland have got experience of playing top teams already in this competition, playing seventh in the world, Morocco, and dispute it or not, as we have on this channel multiple times, the champions of Africa at the minute. Of course, Senegal have put a complaint in for that though, and then of course the tournament's most successful team in its history, Brazil, who are still to play. And they're not the same old Brazil, certainly not, but they're still a great team with some excellent players, Alex.
Yeah, no, definitely they are. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a runny nose today. I'll try my best not to sniff right into the mic. But yeah, no, they're a very good team with some great individuals, and it could be another tough watch. However, having seen Morocco and Brazil, I don't think I think perhaps Brazil has the better individuals. I think Morocco play better as a team. They move it so well. I think the only thing missing was more end product for Morocco from their game against us. But Brazil has got that where you need to watch out for the individual moments. Like so Vinicius, who is maybe not the most consistent, but he can show up with a world class moment. And Neymar's back fit, which could be interesting. More likely to play through the centre. So imagine Neymar running at Grand Adley. Oh, oh God. But yeah, no, it could be a very, very interesting game. However, I don't know what it's been. I've gone from absolutely miserable after the Morocco defeat to my confidence just slowly and slowly building. And I really feel like we can get something out of this game against Brazil.
Yeah, I'm not of the same feeling. The closer or the nearer the fixture comes, the more confidence you get, and you just have that feeling. Can Scotland do it? we've got a knack of playing Brazil in World Cup games, and usually they haven't went too well for us. We've competed in them, scored goals against them, but we always seem to fall
No,
on the wrong side of the result. So it seems like a matter
yeah.
of time before that one falls our way, and we are going to get a positive result
The
against them.
only, the only time we've ever beaten Brazil was in 2017 in an under 21s game.
Yeah, I seen that. That was the one that Greg Taylor scored the winner. Was that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so um, that's a weird story, but I'm sure there was some of the current national team in that squad possibly. I'm not 100% sure on that, but no, they've got some excellent players, and as you said, I think I mentioned it on the when we came on to speak about after the Haiti game, and we had seen Brazil play against Morocco. That's what we took from the game, that Morocco were a lot better as a team, rather than the group of individuals, which I think Brazil that's where they pose their main threat with the talent they have through Carlo Ancelotti. When we know from his years at Real Madrid, especially, that he's not someone to really influence the team tactically. He just gives them the sort of man management, motivation, and all those type of things, and just says to quality players, go out and do what you can do. And I think that's the same case for Brazil. And a lot of maybe the Brazilians, or one that certainly comes to mind for me, who isn't going to be taking part in this game through injury, Rafinha, has looked at, I think, a real shadow of his usual self, sorry, in the opening two games. I know he picked up the injury against Haiti, but I feel like he's maybe a player who suits a lot more of a team with tactics and that plays as a team like Barcelona, whereas Vinicius used to be in the forefront of Carlo Ancelotti teams in the past for Real Madrid, and I think he's obviously going to be the biggest problem which faces Scotland in terms of us getting a result.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've not really seen the news on this. However, if we're looking for someone to one-on-one defend against Vinicius Junior, I'm praying to God that Aaron Hickey's fit. You know, he's good going forward, but I think something that doesn't get talked about with Aaron Hickey as a really, really good one-on-one defender. Um, he times his challenges really, really well. He rarely fouls his opponent, and he's the only he he's the only one who I think could, stand up to Vinicius and stand a chance. I could just see Nathan Patterson and Anthony Ralston looking in three different directions, going, "Where's this guy gone?" So yeah, I really, really hope Aaron Hickey's fit. And one thing that he needs to do, Steve Clarke needs to do, if this guy is fit and he's not been struggling with his calves any longer, like Ethan so helpfully informed me, is Steve Clarke needs to start Bengar and Doak.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because I think as we seen against Morocco, when we were positive and on the front foot and had attacking players in wide areas, especially like Ben Gannon when he comes on for, of course, the forced injury of Kieran Tierney, I think we were a lot better in for the last half an hour and at least carried a threat. I know on the face of it, it doesn't look great, no shots on target, but we really pinned Morocco into their half, and you could say that they were defending the lead. Of course, you've got to take that into consideration, but it wasn't comfortable for them. And on another day, as I think we spoke about previously, but not in this episode, and I'm sure everyone's covered it to death. There's a few decisions that could have went Scotland's way. I think the John McGinn and the Scott McTominay penalty claims would have been soft, especially the Scott McTominay one. But I think the John McGinn one, you have a case, but I think me and you both agreed that it would have been really soft and really harsh, and one that if it was given against Scotland, you'd be raging. But I think the one we thought was a clear decision, which the referee and the VAR team got wrong, was the red card that Issa Diop brings Shea Adams down. There's no cover for the central defender. Adams looks to have got the run on him. He's going to be through on goal. The referee blows up, gives a yellow card, and no further punishment for the West Ham defender. He's still at West Ham, isn't he?
Fulham, is he not?
Oh yeah, Fulham, of course. I don't know why I thought he was West Ham. I know, I was wrong there. I don't know. Yeah, Fulham. Yeah, you're right.
You know why? I don't know. Maybe you were thinking of Ogbonna when you said that.
No, I wasn't. I definitely wasn't thinking of Ogbonna. I know Ogbonna. He was an excellent player in his day. I don't know if he's still playing, but certainly not in the Premier League anymore.
Yeah. Oh well, his international teammate plays at West Ham, who got injured uh, just before the tournament began. Ogerd.
Yeah, that might have been why I thought that. But no, he said as you said, certainly at Fulham, formerly of West Ham. So maybe that's where I was thinking. But I do watch the Premier League, but sometimes all this knowledge, you can't store all of it. You do get some things wrong, but no, that's what we're here for, to correct each other. But no, anyway, I think you were in agreement that easily could have been a red card for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like last man. I know that's not part of the criteria, blah blah blah. But uh, to me, it looked like a clear denial of a goal scorer opportunity. Shea Adams had rolled him, and he looked like he's thought, "Oh crap, he's an on goal," and he's just brought him down. And he's got away with it. He's got away with it. Fair play to him, but it's for me, it's a cynical foul. It's a clear denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, and I think I've been glad to see that. I don't think us as Scots and in the media have got sort of washed away by the decisions and sort of called for any conspiracies or stuff like that, because I think there was a big outcry from Haiti, especially after of course we beat them in the first game, and they felt a few decisions didn't go their way, which I think we even have a better case in this match than they did against us. But I think everyone accepted that Scotland didn't really have too much outside of those decisions to really warrant saying that they deserved anything from the game. I thought Morocco were the better team and deserved the win, despite Scotland making it a closer affair in the closing stages. But I think disappointment was the feeling at the time, and how we started the game, of course, and how we just didn't really give ourselves the best chance going forward when you concede in the opening 2 minutes. But when you put it into the result into hindsight, losing narrowly to the seventh best team in the world, the champions of Africa, the first African side to reach the World Cup semi-finals at the last World Cup, it's
Champions of
not an awful
Africa.
result.
Champions of Africa with a massive asterisk. Uh, but yeah, I take your point.
Yeah, yeah, you do take my point, because they are the champions of Africa. Whether we
No, they're not. They're not the real champions of Africa. It's like it's stupid. I hate that whole thing. Just like a couple months after, we've just decided just like to give it to Morocco, even though Senegal beat them in the 120-minute affair.
Yeah, no,
Ridiculous.
I agree with you, but they are officially, whether we like it or not, they are officially the champions of Africa.
It's nonsense.
Uh, anyway, I think, where should we speak about next? The lineup for the upcoming game tonight. Where we think we should line up, what we thought, what did we think of the lineup against Morocco, and how Steve Clarke set us up to start before,
Far,
obviously,
far,
concede that
far
early
too
goal.
negative. Far too negative. When we had nothing going forward in the first half. The first half was a brutal watch. Um, I feel like it was only when the changes were made, we went more positive. We actually started to look like we could act like threaten a little bit, and the defense didn't suffer. So because we were just parked behind the ball and we couldn't get out, and it looked like they really struggled in the final third. So I feel like the we shouldn't go five against Brazil.
No, I agree with you, and I think when you watch the game, it wasn't really set up as like a rigid five at the back, but Kieran Tierney was one of our most promising sort of attacking outlets as a left midfielder, which just it's not the same as having Ben Gannon Doak or even Finlay Curtis. I know Kieran Tierney, of course, more experienced than Curtis, especially, and more trusted by Clark. I understand that to start, and I think we both agreed that we thought Kieran Tierney was one of the more positive performers when he was on the pitch. But as you said, we just never looked like we were going to get up the pitch to do anything when we got the ball. We didn't have confidence in possession. We didn't look like we could go and get a goal, especially in that first half. And Morocco completely dominated uh, ever since they from kickoff. From kickoff, they do as we've seen a lot of teams do at this tournament. They kick the ball long. I don't know if they intended to play it out towards our corner flag to press us in, but it was Nathan Patterson who picked it up, but without it going out for a throw in, plays it back to Angus Gunn, who clears it out for a throw in, and ever since that, Morocco work it about. Lovely ball from Brahim Diaz, but terrible defending from Grant Hanley. Tries to play Ismail Saibari offside, not even close to achieving that. Just poor defending and excellent finish from the now Bayern Munich striker. Take nothing away from him. 2 goals and 2 excellent finishes in 2 games. But it just set Scotland back so far in the game, and it really flattened the atmosphere in the stadium, which was a lot more of a split crowd compared to the opening game, with a lot of Moroccans who were excellent and made an excellent atmosphere and really silenced the Scots, which yeah probably didn't help the players. And yeah, I think Scotland have got to start on the front foot in this game. Start our best players on the pitch, regardless of their fitness. Of course, if they're likely to really pick up a long term injury or an injury that's going to hamper them for the knockout rounds of the tournament, then that's something to be thought about. But I think you got a good rest for Ben Gannon-Doak in that second game, because he is struggling with his calves, and that's probably why he doesn't start. But I think he's got to come back in for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? Who would you go for this game? Um, you know what? I've got some radical changes I want made,
Okay,
uh, and I want to see. I know it'll never happen, but I just want to see how it would play out.
right.
So I'd go for a 4-2-3-1.
Okay,
I'd play Angus Gunn, McKenna if he's fit, but it doesn't look like he is. Um, so it looks like it'll be Hanley and Hendry. Jack Hendry, by the way, who I think has been maybe our second best player this tournament, just behind Lewis Ferguson. Um, and then left back, the skipper, right back, Hickey if fit. That's gonna happen a lot.
Alex, Alex, just to float a little bit of an idea which I've seen people suggesting. Would
No,
you? No, no. Okay.
are you gonna say put Tierney at centre back?
No. Tierney centre back. Tierney at right back. I've seen people suggesting after Nathan
No,
Patterson's
no,
performance
no.
against.
He
Well, well,
literally injured himself once trying to kick it with his right foot.
he also scored the goal which took Scotland to the World Cup on a position on, of course, with his left foot, but from a position on the right when he was brought on at right back or right midfield. It was at the time. I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure it was right back. And I think after Nathan Patterson's game, and he's going to have to defend up against Vinicius Junior, as we spoke about. I don't know. I would be more confident with Kieran Tierney in that position. Obviously, his fitness we don't know, but it's something that Kieran Tierney's just been a sort of a juggernaut this season. He looks like in so many games he's come off, ran himself into not being able to play anymore in matches, and then he starts the next game. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again here. And yeah, I'd be more confident with him at right back than Nathan Patterson or Anthony Ralston if Aaron Hickey's not able to take part in this game. So it's an interesting debate, but I think there's certainly a debate to be had in that area of the field.
Yeah, but no. So
You're
uh,
just going to stick with Patterson?
yeah, I don't like all that. Like, so I think Patterson would have a bit.
What do you mean, like all that?
I don't like putting a left back at right back and all of that, all those shenanigans. No, he would be wrong footed going up against Vinicius Junior. That's insane.
Okay. I don't think it really like. Obviously, it's ideal to have a left footer at left back, right footer at right back most of the time, but I don't think it's going to make
Especially
that much
that,
of a difference.
especially though when you've got a guy whose hips are made of biscuits, putting them on the wrong side. I don't think that helps.
No, but I just think he's a better. And Nathan Patterson's not fit to play 50 games a season either. It's really not. It's
No,
not
but I'm not saying that should prevent Tierney from playing. I'm just saying it's about body position. It's about knowing how to defend that side. It's different. When you defend as a right back and a left back, you defend on your stronger foot. You know, it's different. That's the point I'm making. I'm not just being spiteful and saying, "Oh, I don't want it because you've suggested it," or because I don't like Kieran Tierney, which I do. I really do like Kieran Tierney, but I just wouldn't want it. Although I would say it is a close call between playing him and playing Nathan Parson again.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it will be. I think it will be Nathan Patterson though for the things you mentioned, just the natural defensive awareness of a right footer who's used to playing at right back, playing at right back. But I think if you're looking for a better footballer to play in that position and give us better quality across the field and not stretching out of the boundaries too far. I know I spoke a lot on Kieran Tierney playing at central defence, and I can understand why you were against that. But I think this is less of a sort of
oh,
jump.
I'd be even more against this.
Would you?
Yeah,
Okay,
if
that's
it
fair enough, but I
if
don't know.
it's,
I
if
think
it's,
it's something that it certainly would be a risk to take, and it's a risk that I don't expect Steve Clarke to take. But us Scotland fans are always going to.
I've got some risks coming up. Oh,
Okay, well let's hear them. So the midfield sitting two,
Ferguson if he's fit, and Ryan Christie, and then
yeah, I agree with that. Just first of all, I think we spoke about it after the Haiti game, but I think we both sung his praises again. How good Lewis Ferguson was in the game against Morocco again. One of the standouts, if not the Scotland standout, and I think he's been the best Scotland player in the last three competitive matches now. And I think we've had a case of sort of our biggest of names not maybe hitting the heights that you've expected from them, both at club and international level. But Lewis Ferguson certainly has, and yeah, I think he just deserves a little bit of a shout out for his work that he's done in there,
well
and
done,
then a lot of it
well
alone
done.
as well. Whereas I think if Ryan Christie's next to him and a sort of sitting to it, it's a lot more defensive cover naturally for the back four, although it's not maybe more defensive minded players on the pitch. Like I think you're going to reveal a little bit more of an offensive sort of setup.
Yeah. So at Cam, this is interesting.
Cam.
What?
But no, it's just a weird way to say it.
How am I a FIFA guy?
Well,
Uh,
not everybody's a FIFA for people that don't play FIFA or FC
for my
26,
attacking midfielder,
attacking midfielder or a number 10 as it was known.
this is interesting. This is where I'm struggling. All right, I'm gonna go with the more radical choice, John McGinn, uh,
Right.
as
Okay.
the attacking midfielder. On the left hand side, I'm going Finlay Curtis. On the right
Okay.
hand side, I'm going Ben Gannon Doak. And up top, Scott McTominay.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, certainly an interesting team setup, and I don't think if we were the coaches of Scotland or if we wanted our way in starting lineups, we would ever meet with Steve Clarke's terms. And I think that's why. I can see why you've done that with the lack of quality the strikers have shown at this tournament, but I think he's going to start at least one striker. I think the Shea Adams experiment may be over for him starting. Would you agree with that? I just don't think he's done enough across the two games.
Who would you start though? Because
That's the thing.
I think they're all just as useless as each other. That's why I've gone Scott McTominay, who has
But
been useless as well. But you know,
but are they useless because of the lack of service and the lack of playing on the front foot that we've seen from Scotland in the opening two games? Because Adams and Shankland looked excellent in those warm-up games, and then it's just been a complete drop-off. And I know the performances have been a complete drop-off.
they couldn't hold up traffic. Never mind the football. They're you know the
Adam's done all right for an only goal at the tournament against Haiti.
oh, wow against the mighty Haitians.
Yeah, well, it's still to be noted, but no, honestly, although Adams hasn't looked great, I would still start him over any of the other strikers from the start. I think there's been some suggestions that he may go with Lyndon Dykes for a more direct approach, but can you really start Lyndon Dykes against Brazil? I know he's been an excellent
No, you
servant.
cannot.
He's been an excellent
I don't
servant
want
to
to see
Scotland,
Lyndon
but
Dykes anywhere. I don't want to see Lyndon Dykes anywhere near. You know what? The only one that's not really been given a chance to show how useless he is, just throw Ross Stewart up there. Just see what happens.
no, I think I would go with Adams because I know I understand the McTominay shout. Just try and get our best players in the lineup or our most attacking sort of threats in the lineup, but I think it'll be a similar team. I think it'll be Ferguson and Christie sitting, as you said, McTominay in behind the striker, McGinn and Gannon Doak on the flanks, and Adams up top. So not too many changes, but
My other option was to keep Curtis in there, drop McGinn, and just have a striker.
sorry, what was that?
Drop John McGinn for Finlay Curtis.
Oh, I don't think you can't do that.
John
You
McGinn's
cannot
been
do that.
rubbish though.
But so is the whole team, apart from Lewis Ferguson and Jack Hendry defensively. But no. And how do we think the Brazilians are going to line up then? It's sort of looking at the head to head. They made a couple of changes after their first game. The lineup in the 3-0 win against Haiti, in which they had the game wrapped up in the first half. Rafinha did score, although I said about how I didn't think he had sort of hit his usual heights from what we've seen at Barcelona recently. He did score, but it was offside. I think Thiago was it that also had a disallowed goal in the second half, but Mateus Cunha and Vinicius got the three goals in the first half to wrap up the points and a decent goal difference margin for Brazil to go to the top of the group before Morocco, of course, have to play Haiti, and you would expect them to take 3 points there as well. So
You know what I'm looking at here as a vulnerability for them, and it maybe speaks to playing Ben Gannon. Their fullbacks are old as hell.
yeah,
Playing
well,
in
that is something that we've noticed going into the tournament that their fullbacks is certainly a weaker area. You look at the goalkeeper and the two central defenders are going to start the same as they have done in the previous two matches. It's Alisson Becker, Marquinhos is the captain, and Gabriel. It's a very strong area of the field for which I think would give any team in the tournament a sort of run for their money. But the fullback area, Douglas Santos is the Zenit left back, started both games. I think it was Ibanez who started the first game, and then Danilo, formerly of Real Madrid and Man City, and Juventus, now at Flamengo, who started the second game. I don't know who of they two is going to start or if it will be someone else, but it's certainly not an area of strength for Carlo Ancelotti's side, and as you said, one that can be exploited, especially if they've got traditional wide men who are happy to attack their fullback on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at their bench as well. They've got some strong players on there. Neymar will obviously be back. Who he might be starting. You
I think
never know.
I think he probably just comes straight in for Rafinha. I know it's not a
No, but they said that Ancelotti said though if he played him, he wouldn't play him on the wing.
well, maybe Lucas Paqueta, but I think with Rafinha's injury, and I know it doesn't really work like that, but as I said, with Brazil, I think they're all just going to sort of run about. I know it's not as simple as that, but I don't know if he takes out one of those three sort of traditional central midfielders, Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes, and Lucas Paqueta have started all three on all
I
two
don't
games.
know. I don't know if Neymar will start.
Yeah, I don't know if he will either. I don't think he will. I think you're more likely
I,
to see Cunha
I
go out wide and Thiago through the middle. maybe,
I don't
possibly.
know. Do you not think Rayhan just comes in for Rafinha?
Possibly. He obviously come on for Rafinha in the game just before half time. So
Did
possibly.
he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's ball knowledge right there. I didn't even know that.
But obviously they've got no. Sorry, it wasn't Thiago that scored the disallowed goal in the second half. Now that I've seen his face, it was Endrick who came on, who's another excellent player, which I think Scotland would love to have, along with Gabriel Martinelli, and then Danilo and Ederson were the other subs. Of course, Ederson, the Atalanta midfielder, not the former Man City goalkeeper, but they have got excellent options off the bench, including the unused Igor Thiago or the experienced Fabinho, who was a used substitute in the opening game against Morocco. So it's going to be a really tall order for Scotland. We know that, but there's certainly areas to exploit. Would it be fair to say?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Sorry, I've got hay fever or something. I'm pure dying here. If you've seen me just rubbing my eyes for the past whole episode. But yeah, no, I think there are areas to exploit. However, I don't think there's a lot of areas to exploit. I mean, Casemiro's just come off the back of one of his best ever individual seasons, I would say, at 34 years of age after last year, everyone thinking he was finished, so maybe he's one you would have looked at and gone, oh, a bit older, something we can take advantage of. Apparently not. I think the fullbacks are the main, and maybe I think everyone disagrees with me on this, but I don't think Marquinhos is as good as everyone says he is. I feel like he's got a mistake in him.
Yeah, but okay, maybe. I'm not saying I agree with your statement, but if you look at our two central defenders, it is really night and day. It's not
No,
really
it
even a
is.
comparison.
It is. But you asked me about vulnerabilities, so I'm trying to tell you what I think are
You try to
vulnerabilities.
you try to fabricate vulnerabilities to boost their confidence.
I'm not fabricating vulnerability. Marquinhos is a vulnerability.
Okay, I disagree, especially compared to the strikers that we
He
pose.
played more games in the Champions League than he did in League One.
That's a very interesting stat, indeed. But do you not think the midfield is also an area to be got at? Of course, quality players within that, but we can
No,
possibly maybe bring a little bit more energy in that area, and
I think the
we can
midfield's untouchable.
I don't think it's
That's
untouchable.
a
I think we
that's a ridiculously good midfield three that I'm looking at right now.
but I think our midfield holds up against that. I think we can compete in
You
that
think
area.
so?
Yeah,
None of them are as good as Bruno Guimaraes. None of them are as good as
Scott
Casemiro.
McTominay, John
No,
McGinn.
no.
I think they are. I think they're as good as, of course, Casemiro, an excellent player and an excellent season, as you said, at Man United. But I don't think they have quite the. If you force them back and they need to do the sort of ugly side of the game, the defending, I think it'll be interesting. I don't think they can. I don't think they'll deal with our midfield as well as Morocco would do. I think Morocco have got a more sort of youthful, energetic midfield, which really caused us problems on both ends of the field, and I think we can certainly give Brazil a challenge in that area. But of course, they're still excellent players in their own right. That's not mistaking that. But I think there's certainly areas that Scotland can be confident about. And with that being said, is there anything more you think to cover on this match before we give our predictions?
No, mate, I'm ready. I'm ready to give a prediction.
Okay. Uh, I am going to go with. I'll go first. I'm going to go with Scotland 1, Brazil 1. I think Scotland will take a draw. I don't think they'll do enough to get a victory, but I think we'll put a little bit of a roadblock in their sort of route to their. I don't think they're going to have enough to win the tournament, but their route to their sixth World Cup. And I think Morocco will top the group. Brazil will finish second. We'll be a comfortably strong enough third place side, and we will face either Mexico, Germany, or Norway no, I'm not going to stick with my prediction that I made. I'm going to go with France to win that group. But yeah, no, it's going to be a difficult game for whoever we get. But no, I think I draw, and I'd be very happy with that. And I think that would be a historic result for our nation at these tournaments.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm going to go for an even more historic result. I'm going to go Scotland 2, Brazil 1. Scott McTominay from striker with both the goals. Here we go. Uh, I'm gonna back Haiti to draw against Morocco, and would that make us top the group? I
No,
think it would. It not?
no, no, it would. No, no, you're right. Sorry, it would.
It
Yeah.
would. And Scotland go through as top of the group. Here we go. So yeah, that's my prediction.
Oh, well, I just hope it doesn't all come crashing down in the opening 2 minutes like it did in the last game. And I say that genuinely, of course, because I do want Scotland to win, but I just can't see it. I don't think Steve Clarke will set us up in that way, unfortunately, or fortunately, because if Scotland are to be defeated heavily tonight, it could really sort of alter the balance of our chances of getting to a knockout round. But I think we should be a lot more positive and expect a lot more from this national team. Anyway, I think that is that all we've got to cover.
Yeah, that'll do it for today's episode of the Dugout Podcast. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out the TikTok and the Spotify. Thank you and goodbye.